shiur Torah, me and you, live.
When?
Whenever you want.
So meanwhile,
But maybe something more interesting.
so let's talk. We're gonna
Different book.
let's talk let's talk about maybe after davening some days this month.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Can be also from home.
But easier for this month, it's easier for me to be from here. And my schedule is more this
We
month.
can do it now. Show to my people live. I have 30,000 followers that might join. Because I put my camera here.
30,000 followers?
30.
How do you have all that from
Oh, I was first of all starting Instagram in 2011.
Oh wow.
And then I was living in Belgium, Congo, in Africa, in Panama.
Well, morning everybody. Morning Aaron, morning Anna.
Morning.
But let's say if we want to deal with the Jewish people, but
I also have a lot.
how could you create if you want to have a clip? Yeah, so I want to have something for the Jewish people. You know what I'm saying?
But everyone is putting, for example, even the rabbis here, they publish it and anyone can see it. A Muslim, a Christian, and
Right. I understand.
a Buddhist.
Right, I
But
understand.
you should do it for Jewish people.
Yeah, I want to do for Jewish people. So we'll talk more about the lunch. Let's talk about figure out how we get to the Jewish people. Okay. Morning, Adam. Morning, Aaron. We are on 55A. 55A1. The last thing we said yesterday, 55A. That's Nun Hey Amin Aleph A1. About 4 lines from the top. The last thing that we said yesterday was that because every person who has the ability to say something to members of his household, members of his household, we're talking about a few minutes, people have household members, has relatives, has brother-in-laws that might not have a mezuzah in their house, right? People have, there's all different situations in life, and we have responsibility to encourage them, to tell them about the importance of different mitzvot, whatever the mitzvah might be. So anybody who has the ability to protest against members of his household, usually means his family, his children, his wife. They see that anyone is not doing something right, but you have to say something. And if someone does not protest against them, then he's considered responsible as if he did the sin. And we were saying about, if you're a leader, right? So your responsibility for your community. If you're a leader of the world jury, then you're responsible for the world jury. So and you'll be taken to task. You will be held accountable for all those sins. And that's what we were saying yesterday. Now comes the Gemara of Yehuda Haviyativ Kamei de Shmuel. Yehuda was sitting in front of Shmuel. A certain woman came to the court, Kasefra Kamei, and she was crying about something that happened to her. Obviously, she felt that she was maybe perhaps being taken advantage of, or whatever the circumstance was, that she felt that she felt very bad what was happening to her. And Shmuel did not pay attention to what was going to her, meaning he didn't take care of her problem. So again, what do we have? We have Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is sitting in front of Shmuel. If I'm sitting in front of Adam's the teacher, and I'm sitting in front of him. So if Rabbi Yehuda was sitting in front of Shmuel, so Shmuel would be the rabbi, let's say. the senior rabbi. Rabbi Yehuda is the junior rabbi. He's sitting in front of the rabbi. And the lady comes to the court and she cries out, and Shmuel doesn't say anything. Shmuel doesn't. Now, I mean, it's hard to imagine that he'd not, say something to her to, whatever he might have said to try to appease her. But the point was he wasn't helping her in any way, in any fashion to help solve the problem. So Amalei, so Rav Yehuda, the student of Shmuel, says to Shmuel, Lo savla ma. You don't hold you don't agree with, you don't hold of the pasuk in Mishlei, Utem ozno mizakat dal. Someone who closes his ears from the cries of the poor, Gam hu yikra v'lo ye'aneh. That person also, good morning Mordechai. If someone, Nun Heyam and Aleph, 55a, 1. If someone closes his ears from the cries of the poor, he also will call out and he will not be answered. And most probably it means that you could say that if a person does not pay attention to the cry of the poor, Hashem is going to give him what to cry about, and no one's going to pay attention to him. So how could you now? By the way, there's many other psukim he could have quoted of how you have to have responsibility. If someone's Mordechai, we're talking about a lady came to the court. Rabbi Yehuda was sitting in front of Shmuel, and Rabbi Yehuda was sitting in front of Shmuel, and a lady came in and she was crying about a personal situation that happened to her, that she felt someone took advantage of her in a way, let's say financially, whatever it was. And Shmuel did not deal with the situation, did not fix the situation. He didn't listen to her. He didn't listen to her problem, so to speak. He didn't deal with her problem. She came with a problem, and the rabbi didn't deal with it. So the other rabbi, the student of the rabbi said, Rabbi, what's going on? Don't you hold of the pasuk in Mishlei? You have to, if a poor person calls out and if you don't pay attention, when you call out, you also no one will pay attention to you. Now, and of course you hold of the pasuk. It's Torah, it's Mishlei. Amalei, Shinina, sharp one. Many places Shmuel called Rabbi Yehuda sharp one. Maybe it could be like he's a student, and he's a student who always asks good questions. So sometimes they say, "Oh, you have a great head," right? So he's a sharp one, which is a big compliment, right? Mordechai, when you tell your student sharp one, it's
not being sarcastic.
Not being sarcastic. I think he means in I mean, being sarcastic is not a good thing, right? So I'd rather say that the rabbi is more positive, is more of a positive thing. Sharp one. Reishach Bikriri. Someone who is your teacher, Bikriri. Your rabbi is going to get judged with cold waters. It's not going to be burnt. Meaning, I'm not going to get punished for that. Which maybe is like symbolic of Gehenna. Gehenna is, the fire of Gehenna, right? Gehenna is Hell, right?
Rabbi,
Yes.
question about that, Hannah. I actually, no one is going to Gehenna. You read 8 Madore Gehenom, your soul is getting pure, and then you go to heaven.
Yeah, but the soul getting pure, if it goes through Gehenna, that means it would spend time and took a stop. Meaning a lot of people might need to stop in Gehenna. Okay, but it's a bad stop. It's not a good stop, right? So he's saying, I'm not your rabbi. It's going to be cold. It's not going to get Gehenna. But Reishad Reishech, the rabbi's rabbi, the one who's my rabbi, the rabbi's rabbi, meaning Ma'ukva, he's going to get punished. Meaning, why is he going to get punished? Because he's responsible, because he is the head of court, Hayativ Marukva Av Bezdin. Because Marukva is the Av Bezdin. He's the head of the court, and he is supposed to go ahead and help the woman. And if he doesn't help the woman, he's going to be punished. Meaning Hashem is not going to punish me. I don't have the ability. He's in charge over here at the court. I might have the ability to say something nice, say something to the woman to calm her down, but I don't have the ability to deal with her financial, let's say it's a financial issue that she felt someone financially took advantage of her because because the person I'm not in charge. Now, the obvious question is what was the story? Baruch was a great rabbi. Why wasn't he dealing with the issue? Right? Now,
Is it giving an example? Oh, it's in my power, so let me do nothing and then let the one do the one who has power handle.
yeah, but I don't know if it's let me do nothing, because the word let me do nothing means I have the ability to do something, but I'm not going to do something because someone else had. Right.
Often the cases, rabbis encourage us to go extra mile, even if we don't have the ability.
Right, but if I don't run the court, if I'm not, if I'm not the head of the court, I can't, maybe I can advocate to the court to say to help this woman, right? But at the end of the day, she's the head of the court, and he's the one who has to, he's the one who could deal with this. I can't, I'm not in a position. Now, the rabbi of the court could be that he was dealing, Rabbi Ukva was dealing with other issues. Therefore, he wasn't able to deal with it. Maybe the reason why the lady's issue was not being tended to was because Marukva there was some other circumstances that was tying him up. Because the obvious question is, Marukva is a big rabbi, and he why isn't he helping this woman? He's the head of the court. So I would like to suggest what the Rabbi Yehuda is saying to the woman, listen, miss, I'm not in charge of the court. He's in charge of the court. It's his responsibility. I don't have that ability. I'm not in charge. The one who has the ability, he's held accountable. Now, but obviously, if the rabbi, if he's not taking care of it, there has to be a good reason why he's not able to deal with it today. That's what how I would say, because how do you explain it? How do you explain why Marukva? Right? We only have historically you only have the nicest things to say about Marukva, right? We don't have. And does it make sense that Marukva would not want to deal with the woman's issue? The Torah is so much focused on Ben Adam Lachavero. And that's the job of a court. You're head of a court. You have to take care of the people's issues. You can't turn your ear. So I'm just wondering what would so you have to say there's some circumstance that's causing Marukva not to tend to the woman's issue. How else could we explain the actions of Marukva? Right? Anybody have any suggestions on that? Right?
Thinking that she's not right.
I mean, but then the rabbi, meaning because she had no real claim, therefore Rukva wasn't dealing with it. That's what you're saying.
Then probably the vertical together.
So then he should have said, like I said, you're not right. That's why the rabbi is not right. That's what you're saying. Why is Rabbi Yehuda saying, the one who's responsible is going to get punished? You should say, no, the reason that's right. That would be the problem with that pshat. Now, and he brings the ksiv. The Gemara says, and because Hayatev Barukva, Rabbi Mukva is sitting. He's the Avbezdin. He's the head of the court. The ksiv, as the pasuk says, Beis David, Kol Hashem, Dinu Laboka Mishpat, Vahatzilu Gozul Me'eroshek. It's the job of the court to save. You have to save the one who is being stolen from, Gozul Me'eroshek, from the oppressor. Because if you do not save the person, if you, the court, good morning, Simon, did not save the oppressor from the one who's being oppressed, lest my, like fire, my anger will go out like fire, vara, it will consume, it will punish, the aim mechaber, and will not be extinguished, the fire will be strong, because of your bad actions, if you don't go ahead. Beit David, you are the Beit David, you are the house of David, you are the leaders, you are responsible. So the leaders are responsible, right, Simon? And if they don't do it, they're going to be punished. So that's the theme that we're saying over here. Leaders are responsible for the actions of the people, and they're going to be responsible if they don't fix these people's problem issues, if they don't correct the people, and we say they're going to be held responsible for those sins. And like we said, it's every person. We said every man is a leader in his house. Contrary to everybody says the wife is the boss. The wife is the boss in her areas of life. The kitchen, she's the boss in certain places. But the leadership of the house, spiritual guidance of the house is up to the husband, and you're responsible for the actions of your wife. You're responsible for the actions of your children. And if you don't say something, if they're doing something that's not correct, it's your sin. Meaning their sin becomes your sin. Is that powerful, Moshe? That's what the Gemara is teaching us. And then if you're in position of leadership of your city, you're a mayor of your city, a rabbi of your city, you are responsible for the city. And if some people of the city are Machala Shabbat, not eating kosher, you got that responsibility. You got to fix it. You don't fix it, it's your sin. Aaron, right? That's what the Gemara is saying. Now the Gemara continues. Good morning, Asaf. Amalei Rav Zera Rav Simon. The Gemara is on a roll. Lochechinu ma lahani de beiresh geluta. Rav Zera says to Rav Simon, Rabbi Simon. Here we have Simon ben Simon Tov. How do you like that? Simon. Adam, what do you say? Sounds like it's an old, maybe it's a Aramaic, Babylonian name. Maybe we have to see the origin. Simon. Rav Zera says to Rav Simon, you should give Musa, you should rebuke Lahani de Beresh Geluda. You should rebuke the people who are in charge of the house of Reish Geluta, meaning to say, or the people that are in the house of Reish Geluta. Yeah, that's how they say. The people that are in charge of let's say, and you have something called the Reish Geluta. The Reish Geluta means the Reish Galut. He's the head of the exile. As you know, the majority of the Jewish people were in Babylon, and now we're talking after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. And after the destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash, and the head of the exile is responsible. The head, the people that are leaders in that household, the leadership of the Reish Galuta, the leadership of the exile. You, Reb Simon, you're a big rabbi, you're a big man. You should go ahead and rebuke. You should rebuke those leaders of the house of the head of the Galut, because of their sins. Omalei, so Rabbi Simon responded, Lo mekablei minai. They're not gonna listen to what I have to say. So he thought that that's a reason why not to say something. Because what's the use of me saying something if they're not going to listen? Omalei, so Reb Zera told Reb Simon, Afagav de lo mekableh. Even if they do not, even if they will not accept, luchachin omar. You should still give them rebuke. Now, Tosos points out, when should you give them the rebuke? Meaning to say, when there is a safek, when there is a possibility that they will accept the musar, then the rebuke, then you're supposed to go ahead and rebuke them. But when you know for sure they're not going to accept the rebuke, then don't say anything. Why? Better that they should be shogeg and not be mezid. Better they should sin unintentionally than sin intentionally. So now, the Shulchan Aruch has a whole discussion. The Mishnah Berurah discusses these laws. And let me tell you what I recall is the bottom line. If someone violates something in the Torah that's written openly in the Torah, even if you know they're not going to listen to you, you should say something. Even if you know that, you should say something. But if someone is not is violating something which is not openly written in the Torah, it could be a Torah law, but it's not written in the Torah, and also if it's a rabbinic law, if you know they're not going to listen, better don't say anything, because if you're going to say it, then they're going to be violating it intentionally. Better they should violate the sin unintentionally than violate it intentionally. Is that clear what we're saying over here? The only issue with Tosos's pshat is because the language of the Gemara is, he tells them, even if they're not going to accept, you should give them musar. Which sounds like even when you know they're not going to accept, which would fit in with what I'm saying if it's a Torah law. If they're violating Torah law and you know they're not going to accept, you should still give them the musar. Tosas is learning that even if they're not going to accept, meaning to say, even if there's only a small chance, that's how Tosas is learning, you should still give him the rebuke. But when you know for sure they're not going to accept the rebuke, don't give them the rebuke. Okay, but now the Gemara continues. And I'm suggesting you could learn the Gemara that even when you know they're definitely not going to accept the rebuke, you should still give them the rebuke, since it's written openly, if it's written openly in the Torah. And where do we find that? And where's the precedent? What did you say, Simon? Right, but the question is, Simon points to the Torah mitzvah of giving rebuke. The Torah tells you to do that. But the question is that specifically when you know there's a possibility that you're going to be successful? Or even when you know for sure the guy's not going to listen, you still have the mitzvah of giving rebuke?
So, say not gonna listen, does that mean not gonna listen that time? Or not gonna listen the next time or ever? Because it's like, you could tell someone something in the moment, they might not be ready to change. But as soon as we start-
Right.
Right, but
If you
that's
say,
what this seems to be saying, that it's good to be silent if they're not gonna listen to you. So what does it mean, not listen ever?
Right,
I get it, it's totally pointless.
right. I think those meaning it's pointless. That's not, you're not,
Ever.
then right,
Never.
they're not going to change. You know for sure they're not. At this point, they're going to do this today, tomorrow,
Okay.
next week, next year. Right,
So that's a
exactly.
very high standard, because
Morning.
literally, that's a low standard, like, lots of people won't change right away. But very few people could meet that standard of having no potential.
That's a good point. Let's say, this guy is the type of guy that this musad that you're going to give him today, he's going to continue doing this sin. You don't. There's
Yeah,
no.
but it's just said something.
But you're saying a good point. If there's a possibility that if there is any possibility that he might accept it, maybe he might not accept it. He won't do it today, but a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, I think that's called there's a purpose.
But in Hashem's eyes, you're never at a point of no return. Like,
Right.
how can we judge someone like that?
That's a good point. But sometimes you might know the person that this is like.
Maybe it means not literally, realistic, probably no hope.
So again, probably might not be if there's a possibility you think he's going to listen. It sounds like you're supposed to give him the rebuke.
This is our individual, right? Of communities.
This should also be community. It should be the community too. If you have to say something to the community, and the community doesn't know about a certain law, and now you're going to tell the community about this law, and you know the community is not going to listen to you. They're not going to. So don't tell the community. Maybe if there'll be individuals that will listen, maybe tell those individuals. But if the community won't listen to it, then now you're telling them about a law that until now they didn't know they were doing something wrong. Now they're intentionally going to do something wrong. Now Adam brings up a good point. It's a good. What do you mean? People, you have to believe in people, right? But sometimes you know who who you're dealing with. You know that the person is not ready to make a move, not ready to change. So now I would like to suggest the following. Simon quoted the pasuk "Hocheach tochiach et amitecha." What does that pasuk? What is the meaning of Hocheach tochiach? So we have a pasuk in the Torah when Eliezer goes to find a shidduch, a mate, a wife for Yitzchak. He says, the woman that will offer to give to me to drink and the camels to drink, I'm going to ask for myself to drink, right? But the woman that's going to be a balat chesed, a woman that's going to be a woman of great kindness, right? That woman, because she's going to offer more than I asked, she's oto hochachta. Morning, doctor. That is the woman that you have shown, that you have made clear, is the right woman for Yitzchak. So the word hocheach also has to do with making clear. So I'd like to explain that when you give someone, the word rebuke is a very strong word. When someone's doing something wrong, your job, good morning, is to educate them, is to make clear to them, is to show them what's right. But if you're going to say something to them and you're going to make and it's not going to make it clear to them, because to them they're not interested in listening to it. So that is that opinion that says the mitzvah of giving rebuke, when you know they're not going to listen to it. So you're not really making it clear to them in a certain sense.
Right.
So maybe that's why you will not be obligated to do that if it's not written in the Torah. But if it's written in the Torah, it's still brought down. You still have a responsibility to say something to that person.
Rabbi, how did this square within the Rambam halacha? Doesn't he say like you have to keep rebuking until they hit you?
Right.
Is that the same thing?
Right. So you're asking, so each time you're saying, how can you rebuke it if don't you know they're not listening, right?
That seems like a higher standard. It's like the test is wait to see if they hit you, and then you know.
I mean, up to hit. You don't have to actually get the hit.
Oh, you don't have to get it.
All right. But I think maybe that's talking about something that's written openly in the Torah. It's written openly in the Torah. You got to keep on. They're using a razor on their beard. Every time you go to the barber shop, you're in one barber chair, and your friend, another Jewish guy's in the other barber chair, and they're using a razor shave. Using a razor shave. I had that story, by the way. That I was in the barber shop. I was not in the chair. I was sitting waiting, and there was a Jewish guy who knew better, who went to yeshiva day school or whatever, went to yeshiva, but he wasn't holding where he needs to be holding, whatever his personal situation in life. And spiritually, so I told him, make believe, I'll say his name is Harry. Harry, I'll pay for you. I'll pay for you for electric shave, Harry. You know, I didn't just sit by and just let him you know, without saying something. So I tried to figure out how to say it. What was I supposed to say? Mordechai here, I'm in the barber shop. Harry, I'll be happy to pay for you. I think eventually he changed, by the way.
I would have gone straight to the barber. I would have just explained it to the barber, and then he would have been too embarrassed to correct the barber after that.
But okay, but you have to know how whatever the right way to do it. But that's we have responsibility to. By the way, there's also an interesting thing. I saw familiar from Moshe Feinstein. I think it's somewhere. Also, when a person is sinning, don't watch sin. I think it's an interesting idea. It's like there's an idea. I think it's a very good thing to watch, be involved in a mitzvah yourself, of course. Even watching people do mitzvot is a very good thing, very healthy, very good. It could be, I don't know if he classifies it as a mitzvah, but it's a very good thing. But you shouldn't watch people sin also. Be aware of that. So if you see people sinning, just turn the other way. I mean, when you can't help the situation, don't watch people sinning. Okay. So the Gemara says, the Omar Rav Acha, and he proves his point. Rav Zera says to Rav Simon that even if the people, now what's his proof? Me'olam lo yotza midah tova mepi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's nothing when Hashem said something, a positive thing. Every time Hashem says, I want to give reward to somebody, I'm going to do something good for somebody, always that came to fruition. But there was one time that Hashem says some people are going to live, and then Hashem changed his mind that they're not going to live. And that's the Gemara is going to show the story of tzaddikim, righteous people, who did not rebuke against people who were doing things wrong, and they were held accountable because they didn't know. So maybe that's why Tosfos learns the Gemara, is that the Gemara is bringing a proof. When you give someone a rebuke, as long as you don't know they're not going to listen, there's a possibility that they're going to listen. Even at the end of the day, they didn't. Even if at the end of the day, let's say you have people that if you were to rebuke them, they wouldn't listen. But you didn't know that. God knows that. But you think you're optimistic on the guy that maybe he would. There's a possibility he would listen. So if there's a possibility that the guy will listen, and you have no way of knowing he won't listen, you're not confident that he's not going to listen, then you're held accountable. Even at the end of the day, they would not have listened if you would have said anything to them. You hear what the story is? If you would have said something to them, they would not have listened. Who knows that? God knows that. But you don't know that. You're held responsible. So that's what the Gemara is going to prove to that point. So even if it's such a small chance that they're going to listen, you have to go ahead and say it. And that's what the Gemara is saying now. The Ksiv, it says in the Pasuk, Yecheskel, when he has a vision of the Malachim, the angels of destruction that were sent to Jerusalem to punish the members of Jerusalem. Vayom Hashem Elov. Hashem says to the angel, Avo b'toch ha'ir b'toch Hashem, go in Jerusalem, v'zvat tov al mitzchot ha'anoshim ha'anochim ha'nakim al kol ha'te'evot ha'nasa b'tocha. Go ahead and put a tuff. And the Gemara is going to explain what is this pasuk saying. Put a tuff, write a tuff on the forehead of the men of the righteous people. So what is it? What's going on over here? Amalu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or what's this tuff all about? Hashem says to Gabriel, to the angel Gabriel, Lichu Shoma Mitcham Shel Tzadikim Tuff Shel Dio. Go mark on the forehead of the righteous people a tuff of dio, of ink, Shelo Yishlatu Bo Malachei Chavala, that the angels of destruction should not go ahead and destroy them. And what happened? Well, Mitzcham Shel Rishayim, Tuf Shel Dam. Put a Tuf Shel Dam. Most probably the Tuf on the Tzaddikim was the Tuf Shel Tichyeh, and the Tuf of the Rishayim, of the wicked people, is the Tuf of Tamut, made from blood. And Kadesha Yishutu Malach Chavala. The angels of destruction will punish the people if the forehead of the wicked you put a tuft made out of blood. The attribute of judgment says to Hashem, why are these people different? Why should these get a tuft that they will live, the righteous people, and these people get a tuft that they will die, the Rishayim? What do you mean? What do you mean? These are righteous people, these are wicked people. The righteous people should get a tuft on their forehead that they're going to live, and the wicked people should get a tuft that they're going to die. The righteous people, it's true, they're righteous, but they could have protested against the people who were doing the sins. And they didn't protest, therefore they should get punished. Hashem says, I know, Hashem says, if they would have protested, the wicked people would not have accepted it. So the attribute of justice says to God, you knew that they would not have listened if they would have protested. The righteous people didn't know that. So the righteous people didn't know that, and therefore they should have protested. They didn't protest, they held responsible. Let's end on a positive note. When you help somebody do a mitzvah, you get all the mitzvot that person does as a result of you. If you go ahead and encouraging them, you get all the mitzvot. Those people. Have a great day of that they do. Have a beautiful Shabbat, everybody. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Welcome. Have a great day.